Welcome to highlights of HRZN Racing League Season 6, Round 6 from the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. My name's Chris, otherwise known as Screamlight, going to be taking you through the action at the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, otherwise known as Imola, where the drivers must use all three dry compound tyres in the race as per the wildcard this week. But before that, let's see where we're at after 5 rounds of the season. Your mate returned to the top of the podium at the Circuit of the Americas in the random draw round that was held in very wet conditions, but that didn't seem to stop the Ferrari taking the win. And he took that victory by 15.5 seconds ahead of HydroJax, with Tommy completing the podium. Then it was Six Pompano in 4th, the Scottish Vampire, Psych Snipes, Joker, Elijah and Bunny's Vengeance your top 10. Joker getting driver of the day for his performance on a no-stop strategy. Means that I'm Your Mate leads the way ahead of the Scottish and Six Pompano. Psych Snipes is 4th ahead of Bunny's Vengeance and Vampire, but HydroJax catapulted themselves up to P7. Bazza, Tommy Ash, Elijah, JJ, Aim, Andy, Sprout, Davasaurus, Machan, Vibs, Perpetual, Joker, Simon, Lewis and Rover, all with points so far. And a new driver joined just after that race, Alfie Dugan, 31st as it stands, but partakes in Imola. Mate leads the way in Platinum ahead of the Scottish with Six Pompano in 3rd. Vampire is 4th, but Tommy now 2-point scores on the board, closing on the back of the Englishman and Mercedes. Psych Snipes leads Bunny's Vengeance by 6 points in gold, with Elijah a further 12 back. Sprout is in 4th with a comfortable margin to Perpetual, who's 5th. In silver, Bazza passed the 100-point mark, and he's got a fairly decent gap ahead of Andy. Vibs is in 3rd, still further back again, while DRS Simon has been moved into silver for the last round and is yet to get split points in silver. In bronze, Thundercart and Davasaurus level on points at the top, just ahead of Macjan. Lewis got his bronze class off to a great start with bronze class victory, with Rover there just behind him after 5 rounds. And in D class, HydroJax leads the way ahead of Joker, with Scornful Griffin and Jimmy the only other people to have scored points so far. 3 Portas and Aim dropped into the reserves class last time, and as we mentioned, Alfie there comes in and positions 12. In the Constructors, Ferrari lead the way by 20 points ahead of McLaren, who are just a point ahead of RB. Haas moved from 2nd to 4th after the last round, with Alpine now closing on them. Williams is 6th, with Horizon up to 7th ahead of Mercedes, Aston Martin, Sauber and Red Bull. But that's where we are heading to Imola, a circuit that's hosted the Italian Grand Prix, the San Marino Grand Prix, and now the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. It's a circuit that everybody knows, everybody loves in any discipline. Let's take a look around this iconic Italian circuit. The Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, otherwise known as Imola, 4.909 kilometres over 19 corners. The Scottish has 3 wins in HRZN history, Tommy Ash and I'm Your Mate with the others, none of them though close to Michael Schumacher, who has 7 here. Heading down the not-so-straight start-finish straight, the Variante Bassa right-hand kink there is classed as turn number 1. If we head down to 2, 3 and 4, the Tamburello chicane, you can take a lot of entry curb and then a lot of curb through all parts of this chicane, as you want to run it wide on exit to keep the speed up, heading down towards the Villeneuve chicane. Slight lift into the first part before heavy braking into the second part. Take a little bit of curb on exit before braking heavily into Tosa. Try and keep close to the apex here. It'll give you a nice slingshot up the hill through the kink at turn 8 before Piratella, the left-hander, at turn number 9. Once again, try and keep the speed up as best you can. Don't go too wide before getting through turn 10. Then it's into Aqua Minerale, turns 11, 12 and 13, double right-hander apex. Again, roll it in before heavy braking for the second part. Into the Variante Alta. Don't take too much curb, else you will bounce over the sausage curbs. That gravel on the outside should stop the drivers from going too wide. Head back down the hill now, down to 16 on the right there, and then it's 17 and 18, the Ravazza double left-hander. You can take a fair amount of time to get on the power at the last bit. You want to get the car nice and pointed straight before heading back down towards Variante Bassa. So that's the rapid-fire lap around Imola, a circuit that is just super quick but super fun. We had mixed conditions in qualifying, which meant that our grid got a little bit mixed up. Here it is. HydroJax took pole with Vibs and Bunny's Vengeance in behind. Tommy took 4th, ahead of Sykes 6 Pompano, Vampire. Alfie got a debut 8th place, ahead of Elijah and Andy completing the top 10. Baz is 11th with Syme in 12th, and it's Macjan, Perpetual, Sprite, Rover, Lewis. Dabasaurus, the only ones to set times. I'm Your Mate had a self-imposed qualifying ban, wanted to start from near the back, and the Scottish joined late, so started 20th. A full grid, a tight circuit, high speeds. Surely action ahead. Let's get into it. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5. It's a long hold once again, but away we go, and HydroJax immediately cutting across to block Vibs off into turn 1. And away we go. As you can see, further back, multiple wide. Let's watch HydroJax down into Tamburello. We've got movement up and down the field. But let's see what's going on. We've got a car round. That's Bazza going round. We'll start by taking a look at what happened to Bazza. You can see he gets a pretty decent launch here as Alfie and Elijah collide up ahead. But they both survive. You can see just on the right-hand side, the little pink end plate of the Alpine. Bazza brakes late, manages to find a space, but Andy, a little later once again, taps the back of the Haas. We'll watch that from Andy's perspective as well, just to see what we mean. Once again, gets a decent start, actually, gets a little bit of a better start than Bazza. Has to back it off.
Yeah, I know.
Gets knocked into the way of him. But he's remaining on the outside, sees Bazza go for the late move, brakes not quite enough, taps the Haas, has to get across the gravel, but all of them survive. Yellow flag for Bazza's spin, but other than that, everybody else seems to have got through fairly well. I'm Your Mate already up to P11 as he rounds DRS sign. Make that P10. Who else? Elijah's gone backwards. Elijah is last. What has happened to the 2 Haas cars? Elijah with no front wing. Bazza down at the back. And I think we've got a safety car. Everybody seems to have backed off. Let's take a look at what happened to Elijah then from the start. This incident would go to the stewards, and a decision was made that Matt Chan would be given a 10-second time penalty, which he's going to have to serve in the next round after not finishing this one. But as you saw there, you can see the Haas of Bazza going sideways. But what will happen now is there'll be a punt from the back. Elijah into the wall, loses his front wing, going to have to pit for repair. Hydro taking their time. Safety car restarts have been a bit of a hot button. We've had plenty of messy ones over the years, and a lot of drivers here. Hydro really taking his time. Everybody just being sensible. When does Hydro go? There's no stop-start here, which is good. Hydro still waits, but now he puts the hammer down, and away we go again. We are racing again in Imola. HydroJax leading Vibs. He's got Psych Snipes in for company here. Let's ride on board with the Alpine, because he's looking to the outside of Tamburello. It's going to be one brave move, lap 1. The Scottish already passed Andy further back. Tommy has gone past Bazza into Tamburello. Looks like it was a good move around the outside. Everybody else looking fairly clean and tidy. Let's ride on board with Tommy for the safety car restart here. You can see he's nudging Bazza along to the second part of the Ravazza, but gets on the power. Maybe delays him a little bit, being so caught up behind the Haas, but doesn't bother him too much on the run through Variante Bassa. You can see he's absolutely on the battery here. He moves to the outside. Bassa gives him just enough room, reminiscent of Bottas Russell a few years ago, but without the incident, Tommy's through. I'm Your Mate moves to third, and he's already on Vibs. He's going to try and go around the outside at Tosa. Bunny's Vengeance goes past Rover. 6 goes past Bazza. Dabasaurus and Tommy are fighting. We're going to cut back to them quickly. Not for much longer, because I'm Your Mate has moved into second place. Tommy Ash once again. You can see Dabasaurus getting wide through Veil now, which gives Tommy the opportunity to try and go around the outside of Tosa. And just keep everything level. Doesn't get on the power too early. He's past the Mercedes. Yellow out in sector 1. Have we had somebody off? Rover with a 3-second time penalty. Everybody seems to still be alive. There's Alfie on the back of Vampire. Lewis and Bunny's Vengeance going side to side, and Lewis is off. Lewis is off road. Let's watch that move for Bunny's Vengeance on Lewis. Just looking more confident through Aqua Minerale here. You can see that Ferrari gets just a little bit out of shape. Bunny jinks to the right hand side and inside as we get to Variante Alta. Lewis tries to stay around the outside, in the end goes straight off onto the grass. Bazza has gone past Dabasaurus up ahead, and 6 Pompano as well. Goes through on Dabasaurus through Ravazza. DRS is enabled, and look at this queue of cars as Dabasaurus has got Vampire behind him. Are the Mercedes going to play a game? Let's ride on board with Vampire. They've got Alfie looking as well as 6 Pompano. You can see up ahead goes round the outside of Bazza into Tamburello. Dabasaurus tries to not see too many positions, but he's lost spots to Alfie and the Scottish and Sign. They've all gone through. As Tommy moves into 5th, and now Machan goes past Dabasaurus. Oh, that's a shame. He just got shoveled out wide, and that was it. He's gone backwards. Bunny's Vengeance on the back of Andy already. Obviously made all of his stops, and he's got Elijah for company too. Rover Perpetual and Lewis off the back of the field as Bunny goes past Andy up the hill. Nice move by the Northern Irishman as wide goes Dabasaurus, and he nearly collects Bunny. Alfie goes past Vampire, but Vampire's going to fight him back here. They're side to side. Let's watch on the inside at Ravazza. The Scottish is there as well. There's a little bit of contact. Only a touch as they go through Variante Bassa. HydroJax has lost the lead to I'm Your Mate as well. There goes Vampire. There's contact with the Scottish. We were on board looking back as Baz has gone backwards. Vampire is out. We're down to 19. And I think, yeah, we've got another safety car. Let's take a look at that incident between Vampire and Scottish from on board with both parties. We'll start with Vampire. You can see there's just a little bit of Rubbins racing through Ravazza with Alfie. But Vampire knows he can still get there. Almost spins the RB off in front of him as they come through Variante Bass, just meeting the same part. Loses the front wing initially, but as the car is spinning, it's just straight into the wall for Vampire. Let's watch that from Scottish perspective as well. You can see Alfie and Vampire just trading blows a little bit as they get out of Ravazza. The Scottish then has DRS, goes to the outside, and you just hear the bump in the background. It did go to the stewards. It was deemed a no further action racing incident. Just met on the same part of tarmac at exactly the same time.
We need to form up at reduced pace. Keep a close.
Safety car is in this lap, so Sproke controls the field. I was about to say it's going to be interesting to see, as Alfie there says, let's see where this goes. It's going to be interesting to see what gets sent for review after this one. I don't think. I don't know. I wasn't 100% engaged in what happened between those two. I just saw Vampire hitting the wall as I was trying to keep an eye on who is where on circuit. Sproke not deciding to go just yet. He's going to leave it late as he's got 6 alongside him. He'll go now though. And 6 immediately under pressure from the Scottish. But also, I'm Your Mate passes Lewis, so there's a bit of Ferrari team play there. Does 6 go for a move? No, he doesn't. Doesn't look into Tamburello. The Scottish, you saw the tail wagging on the McLaren as I'm Your Mate moves past Perpetual further back. We've got I'm Your Mate making moves. He's up behind Rover. He goes up the inside as HydroJax passes Perpetual. Tommy needs to follow them through quickly as Dabasaurus and Machan go past Lewis. I think he's found himself off circuit again. We're 2 by 2. Aston Martin and Red Bull. Rover trying to hold off HydroJax, doesn't manage to. HydroJax goes through. Tommy passes the other Red Bull and then Rover lets him through. That's some great team play by those guys. Let's watch Tommy off the safety car restart here. You can see that Lewis and HydroJax just having a little bit of contact up ahead. He nudges the Ferrari slightly, Tommy, but Lewis backs off to the left-hand side. So he's passed one as we head into field mode. Perpetual getting wide on entry, and as he does, he invites Tommy to have a go around the outside at Tosa, which is exactly what he does, not for the first time in this race. Tommy now rounds Perpetual at Tosa, and Rover here, as we get out to Piratana, backs off and lets his teammate through. But Perpetual, Rover and Vibs now. Vibs started so well, really needs to keep up with the guys in front as Imumate moves past Elijah further forward. You can see him there on the inside to Variante Alta. Imumate moves past HydroJax. We've got a car off. That is Andy. He's falling back. And Dabasaurus. Dabasaurus is off too. And just after that earlier Tommy incident, you can see Vibs getting past Rover, who got wide through Piratella. And now he's following up behind Perpetual, who gets all out of shape out of Aqua Minerale. A little bit of battery, overtaken before the chicane. You saw all the shenanigans up ahead of this as we got to Variante Alta, and this is the reason why Andy gets on the brakes, loses the wheel, and he spins the car. Elijah also spans as Haas go past slowly, and Dabasaurus has also gone off-road. To the left there.
Wheel was upside down.
Everybody just having a bit of an issue. As Sprout and the Scottish fighting for second because Six has gone and taken the lead. And Syme now is going to overtake the other Sauber. Bunny's Vengeance is going to try and follow them both through. The Sprout's fallen behind them both. Bunny's Vengeance takes 2 along the straight and moves into third. Great driving from the Northern Irishman.
You're upside down.
Here's Bunny's Vengeance coming into Ravazza up behind Syme. You can see the Scottish and Sprout side by side up ahead through Ravazza, and then it becomes a bit of a cluster of cars up ahead. Syme goes to the left of Sprout. Bunny's Vengeance sees an opportunity here and has passed one Sauber, but then immediately cuts through the middle of the pair. Makes a great double overtake heading down towards Tamburello. Fantastic move by Bunny's Vengeance. Absolutely fantastic. Six Pompano, 1.2 seconds clear. He's trying to scarper quick. Dabasaurus moves past Andy down at the back. This is all action as we enter lap 11. Sprout now with Imumate behind him. Let's ride on board with the Ferrari. Wheel to wheel through Tosa. But Imumate is through. HydroJax is going to try and follow as well. And there he goes. Is Tommy going to also make it through? Let's take a look. He's right up behind the Sauber. Takes a shallow line. Sprout crosses the circuit to try and... Oh, there's a bit of contact. Little bit of bumping and barging as you see Vibs also. Vibs is through too. I saw him just wagging the tail of the Williams through Variante Aqua Minerale. And Sprout from the lead down to 9th. Imumate moves past Syme up ahead, and HydroJax is trying to go with them both. It's all getting a little bit feisty as Tommy's going to try and go through as well. There's contact, Tommy and Syme. Tommy goes through, Vibs goes through, Syme drops to 8th. What is going on? Sprout is in the pits for his first stop. And on board with Tommy here as he goes through Variante Alta. See HydroJax, Imumate and Syme all up ahead. Imumate already going past the Sauber. And HydroJax now does the same heading on to Ravazza. Tommy now senses there could be an opportunity here as Syme gets forced a little wide by HydroJax. There's a bit of contact. Both of them drift, but Tommy takes the position. As HydroJax now goes past Bunny's Vengeance down towards Ravazza. Bunny falling back, but he's staying with them, and Hydro is right on the back of the Scottish. Six Pompano only 2 seconds clear. He's trying to scarper before these guys close on him. But HydroJax 17.3, fastest lap of the race. Nothing the Scottish can do against DRS. Does Bunny hold off I'm Your Mate? Yes, he does, but Tommy was looking at I'm Your Mate there, and Tommy now has a 3-second time penalty, but he goes past I'm Your Mate, who was all compromised and all out of shape. Back with Tommy Ash here as he follows I'm Your Mate up along the start-finish straight. He's getting double DRS because I'm Your Mate is getting it from Bunny up ahead, and you'll see that Tommy now will just kind of fade to the inside. Might have caught I'm Your Mate unawares. He runs wide, clips the back of the Williams, and Tommy gets the opportunity to do him on the cutback. I really want to stay with these guys at the front because HydroJax 0.3 of a second behind 6 Pompano. It's Red Bull versus RB. I think it's going to be a fairly easy contest. 6 has got nothing to fight there. HydroJax is through. And then we've got Tommy. Goes past Bunny's Vengeance. Does I'm Your Mate also go? Does Vibs go as well? Vibs is looking at the move. Up the inside. Doesn't quite make it. Will follow along. Tommy now, though. Free of Bunny's Vengeance. He's going to try and chase off after the Scottish. As Vibs continues to look all over the back of the Ferrari. Onto lap 14 as Sim, I think, has lost it. No, it's Elijah. Elijah's off. What's happened to the Haas as he drops down to 14th? And Mac Chan's off as well. I don't know what's happened. But Mac Chan also off the road and he retires. Here we are to see the Elijah site snipes. First from Elijah's perspective, you can see that he goes a little wide out of Variante Alta, and then there's contact and the Haas is round. It did go to the stewards. It was decided no further action as Elijah was trying to return to the track as Site Snipes was trying to take his normal line. There's a very minimal amount of contact on the front wing, which we'll see from Site Snipes' perspective now. See, just comes across there, the Haas, as they're trying to keep their racing line, and round he goes. Is that going to be another safety car? So I'm Your Mate's gone past Bunny's Vengeance. Vibs goes past Bunny's Vengeance as well. That looked fairly coordinated by the Williams guys, but oh, I'm Your Mate's off. I'm Your Mate nearly takes Vibs with him. Nearly takes Bunny's Vengeance with him, sorry. Board with Vibs here, you can see Bunny's Vengeance and I'm Your Mate make a little bit of contact. Vibs has to just back out of it to avoid a huge incident along the start-finish straight. And then as we get around the next corner, you can see a slow-moving Scottish. I'm Your Mate's off. Vibs gets another position. We'll see that from Bunny's Vengeance perspective now as well, because believe me when I say, the save for both of them is pretty impressive. We're heading up towards Tamburello now, and then you can see I'm Your Mate round the outside. There's the contact. Manages to save the first one as we go in through Tamburello. Vibs has already gone through, but you can see the Scottish up ahead moving slowly, and then I'm Your Mate goes wide. And then Bunny's Vengeance has to avoid it. Takes to the grass, but survives. Somehow they all survive. The Scottish had fallen behind Tommy and all that as well. What is going on today? This is one hell of a race. As we've got Vibs up behind the Scottish, who seems to be struggling at this point. Elijah's in. Rover is not. Syme's in. They've both got damage, I think. It's just a yellow in Sector 1. No safety car as yet. Vibs taps the back of Scottish. Scottish is really struggling at this phase of the Grand Prix. 15 laps in. But as I say, the Scottish is really struggling as I'm Your Mate's in. Maybe he's got damage too. Vibs round the outside towards Tamburello. Great move from the Williams. Moves into 4th place. He's looking really racy today. Gap at the front, 2.5 as you see. 6 is pushing with everything he's got. Alfie looking maybe a little ragged through Ravazza, but far enough in front. DRS is kind of powerful here, but not super powerful. As we've got a yellow in Sector 1, and that's 6 Pompano. He's off. He's off at Tamburello. Vibs and the Scottish go past. As Bazza gets a 3-second time penalty chasing Alfie. Perpetual's in the pits now as well. But 6 Pompano's spun it. And he's dropped out of 2nd place as we've got Vibs and the Scottish still fighting. Vibs trying to go the inside at Piratella. It's going to be brave if he does it. He backs out. Lets the Scottish settle in front. But he's going to be chasing here. Oh, the Scottish getting all out of shape. Vibs nearly into the back of the McLaren. He's going to go again. The Scottish really struggling, I think, at the moment on those medium tyres. There's Dabasaurus and Andy battling out further back. Elijah right there with that battle as well. Let's actually cross to that one because it's a nice three-way tussle as Dabasaurus is off just as we cut to it. So he falls behind all of them. He falls to 18th and last. Lewis goes through, but Dabasaurus struggling himself there, I think. HydroJax has gone past Psych Snipes out of Variante Alta. He should be on the back of Bazza and Alfie fairly shortly, and he'll be back on the podium soon, you feel. I'm your mate a little ways off these guys, the Scottish, between I'm your mate and 6. There's Elijah Perpetual and Lewis Andy, the other battles, as Bazza knows he's got HydroJax closing, but we've got a yellow out in sector 2. I think Andy and Lewis may have had a little bit of a coming together, or Andy's lost it because he's lost the position and fallen back. Let's see why Andy fell back as we head down the hill from Peratella into Acqua Minerale. Gets a little bit of too much curve, a little bit of grass. Round the Alpine goes, then through goes Lewis. There's Elijah closing on Perpetual here, but Hydro surely it's going to be. Oh, there's Bazza round. Again, we just catch the end of it as Bazza is sideways and he's going to lose some positions. Falls behind I'm your mate. Let's see what happens to Bazza then to cause that spin. He's up behind Alfie through Villeneuve and he's got HydroJax right in behind him. But as you can see, tries to take a slightly shallower defensive line, gets on the power, loses the rear end, then Hydro will give him a nudge because he's got nowhere else to go. And Bazza is into the wall. So HydroJax is back into second, 8.7 seconds off Tommy. I think it's almost inevitable with the pace. As I'm your mate's gone past Psych Snipes, but we'll stay with Bazza and Lewis at the moment. I think Bazza's going to be looking to make this move. Lewis loses the rear a little bit out of Variante Alta. Down through 17. And then into Ravazza. A little bit of contact forces Lewis off onto the gravel, but Bazza was practically through at that point. Let's watch the Scottish with Psych Snipes. Go up the inside. Psych Snipes not fighting it too hard as Alfie goes past Sprout through the start-finish line. But Tommy, you can see the rears protesting here. They've got not much more to give, Captain. Up and over the bumps. Acqua Minerale, the gap down to 0.2 of a second. I don't think Tommy's going to have a huge amount to defend with here as they head down towards Ravazza. HydroJax just has to bide their time. Wait for the moment as they go across. Look at the traction difference. Doesn't even need to get DRS. He's through, he's in the lead and will run away. Tommy sat second, 10 clear of I'm your mate, who also has time penalties. So Tommy on for another really good result at Imola at the moment. Psych Snipes is up behind Syme on fresh tyres, just obviously pit in. Right on board with the Dutchman. Sprout just behind Dabasaurus further back. As we'll go to that battle in just a second as Psych Snipes DRS easy pass down towards Tamburello. And he's through. As Sprout there up the inside at Ravazza. Just about a cigarette paper between them, and the Sauber is through. Vibs, though, with Bunny's Vengeance. 2 Williams side by side. Bunny not fighting it too hard. Fresher, faster tyres as Lewis heads out the pits behind them. I'm your mate with 6 seconds. Tommy with 3. So if Tommy keeps the Ferrari behind him for a little bit, as we'll ride on board with the championship leader. Tommy has run a long stint on those tyres and we're heading up towards Piratella and I'm your mate almost through straight away. Tommy knows the fight is not going to be won there. We'll head back up to Scottish and Tommy here though, because Scottish is going to have DRS. Tommy not really fighting it too hard. I think he knows that those tyres have had it. as Vibs is actually closing in. We've got a yellow in sector 2. Is that Elijah off again? I think it might be. Because he's fallen back behind Bazza. I think he might have just gone off-road a little. Lewis, currently between 6 and Vibs. Vibs closing on the RB. He came in late as Elijah goes past Bazza further down. 6 with Lewis, and Vibs not messing around there. Goes through on the exit of Piratello as your mate gets another 3 seconds and moves past 6 Pompano. That's a great move from Vibs to move into 5th place. We'll stay with Bazza for a second because I think he's going to be looking for a move. Psych Snipes maybe as well on Alfie. Too far back there, I think. But let's see. Through Ravazza for HydroJax. Sign with a 3-second time penalty right at the death as Vibs goes past Tommy. But HydroJax will take another victory. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Takes the win. I'm Your Mate is going to finish on the road in second. I think Tommy's lost the rear somewhere because he's fallen behind Bunny as well. Let's watch Tommy here. You can see that right rear is 100% wear, and he almost loses it through Tosa. Managed to somehow get the car pointing the right way, but is severely lacking any traction, any grip whatsoever. He heads up to Piratello, tries to slow it down, and the car just will not turn. He's straight off into the gravel, and as he is, you'll see Vibs come flying by around the outside, and Lewis is unlapping himself there. And then Tommy into Aquaminimale, loses the rear end once again, and through goes 6, and Bunny's Vengeance. The Scottish will take, I'm Your Mate will take second on the road, but I think the Scottish is going to take that from him with time penalties. Tommy now with a 10-second time penalty for corner cut, and he's had a bad end to the race. Scottish comes home second. Vibs is going to come home in 3rd position. 4th position, should I say. 6 will take 5th place, but will be dumped behind Bunny as well, who takes 4th with time penalties. Tommy's going to cross the line, not looking particularly thrilled. He's had a bad last couple of laps. Back with Tommy not long after his last spin. You can see he tries to get on the brakes into Variante Alta. Can't just go straight on with that destroyed right rear tyre. Gets a 10-second penalty for his troubles. It'll head back down the hill towards Ravazza. The car's still limping along at this point, but he cannot get it to slow down, cannot get the car turned. The back grip again steps away from him, and he's off into the gravel. He's got enough of a gap to Alfie at this point that he can just roll it across the line. But a bad end to the race for Tommy.
Right rear is punctured.
Unserved penalty, 7th on the road. Andy Davasaurus, Rover and Lewis are done for the day. But Alfie will take 7th. Psych Snipes will take 8th. Tommy falls to 9th right at the death. Syme across the line in P10. Then Elijah will take P10 from Syme with Pens. Bazza will take P12. Perpetual round Ravazza will take P13. And then it will be Sprout crossing the line to take P14, but HydroJax takes his 2nd victory in 3 rounds. What a race that was at Imola. We had safety cars, we had incidents, we had even punctures, but the wild card of all dry tyres certainly delivered. HydroJax, though, takes the victory by 13 seconds over the Scottish. I'm Your Mate gets 3rd from down at the back. Bunny's Vengeance 4th, and his Vibs 6 Pompano. Alfie takes 7th with driver of the day on debut. Psych Snipes is 8th, Tommy is 9th, Elijah is 10th, and Bazza gets disqualified for not running all dry tyres at the end of the race. That means I'm Your Mate passes the 100-point barrier and leads the way with Scottish and 6 Pompano remaining where they are. HydroJax jumps to 4th ahead of Bunny's Vengeance, Psych Snipes and Vampire, while other movers include Alfie straight up to 18th after an impressive debut race. That means that in Platinum, I'm Your Mate is past the 100-point barrier and still ahead of the Scottish. 6 Pompano holds 3rd, but is now being chased by Tommy, who jumps 1 point ahead of Vampire. after Vampire's DNF. In gold, Sykes Notes leads Bunny's Vengeance by just 2 points now, with Elijah not quite past the 100-point barrier yet. Sprite is 4th and Perpetual still a little bit cut away in 5th. Still holds the silver class lead, but the gap is down to 4 points ahead of Andy. Bibbs moves a little bit closer in 3rd, and DRS Sign gets his first silver points on board. Avasaurus takes the lead of the bronze class, with JJ obviously not racing. Machan is closing in on that 2nd spot. Lewis 20 points behind and just a point ahead of Rover. And in D-Class, HydroJax leads by 30 points. But Alfie moves up to 3rd ahead of Scornful Griffin and Jimmy Alex, the only other drivers to have driven from our D-Class pool. In the Constructors, Ferrari pass 100 points and are 19 clear of McLaren. HRZN Racing, the reservists, moving to 3rd ahead of RB with Williams, Haas and Alpine on slip-in, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Sauber and Red Bull. But that was round 6. Round 7 is double trouble. We have Austria with a reverse grid race as well. Join me for that one. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll see you for the next one. Take care.